The Witcher on Netflix is a show that is loosely adapting Andrzej Sapkowski's The Witcher book series. Since Season 3 drops tomorrow, I figured it would be helpful to review everything that we know so far, including some high-level nods to the 2 prequels. In short, Season 1 was about Geralt and Ciri becoming family, and Season 2 was about Yennefer joining their family. So now they are all together up at Kaer Morhen. Unfortunately, they have to leave since a number of people are looking for Ciri, and one of them has already tracked her there. The biggest reveal so far is that Ciri's biological father is not actually dead. Ciri's father is the Emperor of Nilfgaard, which means he is the man behind the war that has killed her grandmother and so many more. There is a lot to go over, so let's start at the beginning. The first of the 3 main characters is
Geralt of Rivia, the mighty Witcher!
Geralt's mother was a sorceress named Vicenna. She gave Geralt to a Witcher named Vizimir, who became a father figure. Geralt also trained at the temple of Melitele, and Mother Nenneca became a mother figure.
I have missed you.
In order to become a Witcher, Geralt underwent a process known as the Trial of Grasses. That is a very dangerous process in which 7 out of 10 boys die. When he was just a boy, Kaer Morhen was sacked. During that sack, many of the Witchers were killed, and they lost the knowledge to create new Witchers. The second of the 3 main characters is Yennefer of Vengerberg. Yennefer is a quarter elf since her biological father was half-elf. Unfortunately, her father was killed during an event known as the Great Cleansing, an event in which thousands of elves were killed. When Yennefer was a child, she was given away to Tissaia de Vries and trained to be a sorceress. As a result, Tissaia became her mother figure. During her training, Yennefer developed a relationship with Istredd, but he betrayed her by telling Stregebor that she was a quarter elf. Stregebor leveraged that information to get Yennefer assigned to Nilfgaard instead of Fringilla. Yennefer had wanted to advise the King of Aedirn since she was from Aedirn, so she underwent the transformation. She became a work of art and she won over the King of Aedirn. However, it came at a cost. In order to transform, Yennefer gave up her reproductive organs. At the time, Yennefer did not realize what she was giving up. Over time, Yennefer grew tired of her role as an advisor to the king. She felt a longing to become something more, namely a mother. Yennefer went rogue, searching for a way to heal her body. One day, she met Geralt, and he made a wish that saved her life from a djinn. That wish, known as the Last Wish, has never been revealed, but an argument can be made that Geralt saved her life from the djinn by wishing that Yennefer would be the mother of his child. Regardless of whether or not that is true, Geralt fell in love with Yennefer right away, and they made love. Unfortunately for them both, Geralt foolishly snuck off, breaking Yennefer's heart. 6 years later, Geralt and Yennefer stumbled across one another during a dragon hunt. At the start of the hunt, Yennefer's goal had been to kill the dragon in hopes of using it to heal herself so that she could bear children. However, when Yennefer found out that the dragon was protecting its child, she decided to fight alongside the dragon and help to protect that child. Afterwards, the dragon, in his human form, told Geralt and Yennefer that they were made for each other, that they were destined for each other. However, he also said that nothing would come of it because destiny alone wasn't sufficient. Something more was needed. In time, they found out that that something more was their adopted child, Ciri. Ciri is the third of the 3 main characters. Ciri's grandmother was Queen Calanthe of Cintra. Her mother was Princess Pavetta, and her father was a young man going by the names Lord Urchion of Erlenwald and Duny. Calanthe hired Geralt to kill Duny, but Geralt didn't do that. Instead, Geralt risked his life to remove a curse. Although Geralt didn't want anything in return for doing what was right, Duny insisted, so Geralt casually asked for the law of surprise. Lo and behold, Pavetta was pregnant.
Fuck.
So, from that moment on, Geralt and Ciri were destined for one another. Geralt did not believe in destiny, so he never tried to claim her, but in the end, they were reunited after the fall of Cintra.
The girl in the woods will be with you always. She is your destiny.
Now, let's summarize the main plots of Season 1 and Season 2, and then look deeper into the motivations of all the other characters. Supposedly, Ciri's parents died in a shipwreck, but it turns out that was a lie. Ciri's biological father is still alive. Ciri's father's real name is Emhyr var Emreis, and he is the Emperor of Nilfgaard. Emhyr's army began their invasion north by conquering Cintra, and he tasked Cahir with capturing his daughter Ciri. At the time, Geralt was a prisoner there. During the battle, Geralt escaped, but he was unable to find Ciri since Cahir had already captured her and rode off. Ciri exploded with magic, allowing her to escape Cahir. She joined a refugee camp, which was attacked, and she spent time hiding in Brokilon Forest with the Dryads. A Doppler, posing as her mother's advisor Mousesack, lured her out of Brokilon, but she figured out that he was a fraud, and Lara helped her escape the Doppler. A group of Cintrans, including a boy whom she had always looked at as a friend, tried to turn her in for a bounty, but she exploded with magic again, killing them all. The following morning, a local woman found Ciri and brought her to her home in Sodden. Meanwhile, Yennefer was nearby, defending the pass into the north. Geralt was also nearby. Geralt saved the life of a man named Jurga from ghouls, but he was grievously injured in the fight. Jurga brought Geralt to his home, offering Geralt the Law of Surprise as a reward, and as destiny would have it, they arrived home to an unexpected child, Ciri. So that is how Geralt and Ciri became a family in Season 1. The main plot of Season 2 was one in which Yennefer attempted to betray Ciri in order to get her powers back, but she ended up sacrificing herself to save Ciri. Here is a high-level recap of that. When Yennefer saved Sodden, she lost her powers. In order to get them back, she made a deal with the Deathless Mother. The Deathless Mother told Yennefer that she could get her powers back if she brought Ciri to the Shattered Monolith at Cintra. At the time, Geralt and his brothers were hiding Ciri all the way up north at Kaer Morhen. The Witchers didn't know what to do about Ciri's mysterious powers, so they summoned Triss Merigold to take a look at her. Since Triss was unable to help, Geralt took Ciri down to Mother Nenneca at the Temple of Melitele. While they were there, Yennefer showed up looking for Ciri.
How is this possible?
I don't care.
Yennefer was not the only person looking for Ciri. Geralt fought off Rience and his men, but Yennefer tricked Ciri into teleporting them away from there. Since Ciri was not trained to do magic, she brought them to the woman's house down in Sodden, presumably because it was a place where she had felt safe. It's worth noting that Sodden is close to Cintra, which is where the Deathless Mother wanted Yennefer to take Ciri in the first place. As they traveled over to Cintra, Ciri grew on Yennefer, and when they got there, Yennefer had a change of heart. She told Ciri that it was a trap and advised Ciri to turn back. Unfortunately, it was too late. The Deathless Mother had fed on enough pain to escape her prison, and she possessed Ciri as Ciri made her way back to Kaer Morhen. In order to save Ciri, Yennefer offered up her own body as a new vessel, and the Deathless Mother entered her. Ciri then teleported them to another sphere. That new sphere was the world where the Deathless Mother had come from, so the Deathless Mother left Yennefer's body and returned to its original form. It turns out, the Deathless Mother was actually one of the elves of the Wild Hunt. So, who is the Wild Hunt, and why do they want Ciri? The Wild Hunt is a group of elves led by Eredin. Those elves were originally from Ciri's world. In fact, Eredin was a captain of the guard at Cintra back when it was called Zintrea. That was 1,200 years before the current story. At the time, there were no humans and there were no monsters in the world. That changed due to an event known as the Conjunction of Spheres. Spheres is just another word for universes or worlds. When the spheres overlapped, monsters and humans entered the world from other worlds. Around the time of the Conjunction of Spheres, Eredin and some of his guard were betrayed and trapped in another world. They became the Wild Hunt. So, the Wild Hunt has been outside of their homeworld for over 1,000 years. The Wild Hunt wants Ciri to join them because she carries the Elder Blood. That raises the questions. What is the Elder Blood, and why is Ciri special? When the humans arrived during the Conjunction of Spheres, they were scared and confused, but the elves welcomed them. The elves even taught the humans magic. Unfortunately, the humans eventually turned on the elves. In order to save the elven race, elven mages bred a warrior named Lord Dorren. Lara Dorren was supposed to fight against the humans, but instead she fell in love with the human mage and they had a child. Lara Dorren was hunted down and killed, but her line lived on through her child. There is a prophecy called the Ithlinni Prophecy. The Ithlinni Prophecy is about Lara Dorren's descendant, and it just so happens that Ciri is a descendant. So that is why she is special. Ciri carries the Lara Dorren gene. She has the ability to master space and time, and thus she is very powerful. That is why a number of people are already looking for her, and why that number will grow as more people find out who she is and what she can do. One of the people who has already found out about Ciri is Istredd. Istredd is a fascinating character. Istredd was Yennefer's first lover, and Istredd has always had a soft spot for elves. Istredd has spent time doing research in the Nilfgaardian Empire, and he has also investigated the monolith with Geralt. After Geralt went back to Kaer Morhen, Istredd went to Codringr and Fen, and they figured out that Ciri carries the Elder Blood. Istredd was captured by Francesca, and he told her about that, so now she knows about it as well. So, who is Francesca, and why do the elves want Ciri? Over the centuries, humans have killed much of the elven race and banished their survivors out into the edge of the world. To make matters worse, a pure-blood elf hasn't been born in decades, so the elves are a dying race. A year prior to the current events of the story, an elf named Filavandrel led an uprising in an attempt to reclaim Cintran land, but Queen Calanthe fought them off. Since Filavandrel lost, the elves turned to his lover, Francesca. It's worth noting that some claim that Francesca is the most beautiful woman in the world. Francesca formed an alliance with Fringilla, an alliance that allowed elves safely into Cintra. The elves began training with Nilfgaardian troops in advance of the upcoming war, but then Francesca gave birth. Since Francesca's child was the first pure-blood elf to be born in decades, the elves saw that birth as a sign. It gave them a new hope for a brighter future. Francesca told Fringilla that the elves were no longer going to fight in the war. Instead, they were going to remain neutral and focus on growing their community. Unfortunately, Emperor Emhyr found out, and he hired an assassin to kill her child. Since the humans in the north had been rounding up the elves, Francesca wrongly assumed that the assassin had been sent by someone in the north. As a result, she went up to Redania and she used magic to kill a number of human babies. In other words, Emhyr killed her child, but she mistakenly went out and did his bidding by causing a war between the elves and the north. When Francesca captured Istredd, he told her that Ciri has elder blood. Francesca was already well aware of the Ithlinni Prophecy, and her interpretation of the prophecy is that Ciri will be the savior of the elven race. So that is why Francesca and the elves now want to find Ciri. On the flip side, there is a human mage named Stregebor who hates elves. Why does Stregebor hate elves? Stregebor is a very old mage. He was around during the time of a quarter elf named Falka who led a rebellion. In fact, Stregebor lost both of his hands during that rebellion. Falka was eventually captured and burned at the stake, but Stregebor still hates elves to this day. Stregebor is a fanatic. As an example, Stregebor captured, killed, and studied women who were born around the first full eclipse in 1200 years. He justified his actions by claiming that those women could have drowned entire kingdoms in blood. One of those women was a princess on the run named Renfri. Ciri is also a princess on the run, and even worse, Ciri is a descendant of Lara Dorren. Whereas Francesca views Ciri as the savior of the elven race, if Stregebor finds out that Ciri is a child of prophecy, he is likely to view her as a danger, especially if he determines that Ciri is also a descendant of Falka. Another interesting mage is Vilgefortz.
But we don't have much time.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Vilgefortz of Roggevane.
Vilgefortz is young, he is handsome, he is talented, and he is ambitious. Although Yennefer was the hero among heroes at the Battle of Sodden, the mages thought that she had died. In order to strengthen their position in the Brotherhood against the likes of Artorius and Stregebor, Tissaia urged Yennefer to let Vilgefortz carry the mantle of victory at Sodden. It's also worth noting that when Yennefer returned to Aretuza, she overheard Vilgefortz quietly speaking to someone while she was in the hallways. So Vilgefortz is an ambitious mage who is making moves, and that's not all. Vilgefortz has a volatile temper. During the battle at Sodden, Cahir somehow bested Vilgefortz in a sword fight. Vilgefortz fell down a hill, hit his head, and went unconscious. When he woke up, he killed an injured northern mage. In other words, Vilgefortz killed a member of his own alliance, and no one knows that he did that. That was the first sign that Vilgefortz is not as composed as he often seems in public. Later on, Triss Merigold warned Tissaia about Ciri, and Tissaia spilled that secret to Vilgefortz since Tissaia and Vilgefortz were a couple. Although Tissaia had warned him to not tell Triss that he knew, he was so interested in Ciri that he couldn't resist. Triss was upset that Tissaia had shared her secret, so Triss walked away, refusing to give Vilgefortz any more information. Afterwards, Vilgefortz lost control of his temper for a second time.
And I will not continue to put my girls at risk unnecessarily.
I wouldn't ask you to if it wasn't necessary!
Vilgefortz claimed that Ciri might have the potential to end all war forever unless she falls into the wrong hands. Season 3 might be a big season for Vilgefortz. There are also some people who are looking for Ciri strictly for political reasons. As an example, King Vizimir of Redania. Redania is one of the most powerful kingdoms in the north. King Vizimir's advisor is a sorceress named Philippa Eilhart who can shapeshift into an owl, and his spy master is a large and talented man named Sigismund Dijkstra. They told their king that they should find Ciri and leverage her claim to the Cintran throne in order to expand Redania's power and influence. However, Philippa Eilhart, in her owl form, overheard Istredd telling Francesca that Ciri has the Elder Blood. Philippa told her confidant Dijkstra that the word had gotten out, which means that they had already known about Ciri and they had kept it a secret from their king by pretending as if she is important strictly for political reasons. So, they also want Ciri for her Elder Blood, and Dijkstra told Philippa to bring Jaskier to him. Tissaia de Vries called a meeting with other northern monarchs to discuss Redania. Two of those northern monarchs are King Foltest of Temeria and Queen Meve of Lyria. They all agreed that if King Vizimir of Redania found Ciri, he would gain too much power. As a result, they agreed to put a bounty out for Ciri and anyone protecting Ciri. As a reminder, Tissaia de Vries is the rectress of Aretuza, and she loves Yennefer like a daughter. Since Yennefer now loves Ciri like a daughter, that means that Tissaia has unknowingly put out a bounty on both her daughter and her daughter's daughter. Tissaia might come to regret that. One of the most mysterious mages is Rience. Why does Rience want Ciri? Rience was hired by Lydia, and Lydia works for a secret employer who is a male mage. When Geralt killed the Michelet brothers, Rience was too weak to create a portal of his own, so the secret employer created a portal for him. In other words, although the show has not yet revealed who his secret employer is, the show has made it very clear that Rience and Lydia's secret employer is a talented mage. It's worth noting that Rience stole a vial of Ciri's blood from Kaer Morhen. He gave that blood to Lydia, and Lydia is using that blood to track Ciri. It melted her face, so that is why she now looks the way she looks. Last, but certainly not least, there is Emperor Emhyr var Emreis. Who is he, and why is he looking for Ciri? Emhyr var Emreis is Ciri's biological father. In the past, he went by the names Urchian of Erlenwald and Duni. Duni knew that Ciri's mother Pavetta had magical powers because he saw them firsthand. On top of that, Duni came to believe that Ciri was a child of prophecy. When Ciri was just a babe, Duni told Pavetta that they had to flee Cintra because people would kill Ciri if they found out about her. They sailed off under the cover of darkness and supposedly they died in a shipwreck. But it turns out, Duni didn't die. Duni's real name is Emhyr var Emreis. His father was the Emperor of Nilfgaard, but his father was overthrown and killed by a man that came to be known as the Usurper. Emhyr reclaimed the Nilfgaardian Empire. He conquered Cintra, and now he is searching for Ciri since she is a child of prophecy. Emhyr tasked Cahir with finding Ciri, and he did just so. When Cintra fell, Cahir captured her. Unfortunately for him, she exploded with magic and escaped. Instead of waiting for reinforcements, Cahir and Fringilla attempted to press on north, and they lost the fight to the northern mages, most notably Yennefer. After the battle, Cahir was captured. They tried to interrogate him, but it didn't work because someone had put a magical block in his mind. In other words, someone didn't want the secrets about Ciri to get out. Since some of the northern mages didn't trust Yennefer, they tasked her with killing Cahir as a way of proving her loyalty to the north, but she didn't do it. Yennefer freed Cahir and they rode off together. That is when they came across Jaskier. Since humans in the north had begun rounding up elves, Jaskier was secretly smuggling elves out of the north down to Cintra. Yennefer and Cahir boarded one of those ships together, but Yennefer heard Jaskier screaming in the distance, so she got off of the ship to go save him. Long story short, Ciri does not know that Cahir serves her biological father, and Ciri has had nightmares about Cahir ever since he captured her. So Ciri hates him.
And you want to kill him?
Yes,
Why?
I hate him.
Hatred is an endless circle of fear and desperation. And who can tell which came first?
On the flip side, Yennefer has spent time with Cahir, and she has gotten to see a different side of him. Emhyr's other loyal servant is Fringilla Vigo. Fringilla was an advisor to Emhyr's father when his father was the emperor. When the usurper overthrew Emhyr's father, the usurper imprisoned her. When Emhyr reclaimed the empire, he freed Fringilla, so that is one of the reasons why she is loyal to him. A second reason that Fringilla respects Emhyr is because he allows the Nilfgaardian mages to use forms of magic that the northern mages prohibit. At the end of Season 2, Emperor Emhyr finally arrived to Cintra, and Cahir and Fringilla tried to win his favor by lying to him. Since Francesca's rage had caused her to attack the north, they tried to take credit for that by claiming that they had killed her child. Unfortunately for them, Emhyr knew that that was a lie because he had been the one who had hired the assassin. As a result, Emhyr ordered their arrest. So that is the story so far. Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri have become a family, but Ciri is not safe up a Kaer Morhen since there are a number of people looking for her. They know that Rience is looking for Ciri. They know that the Wild Hunt is looking for her, and Geralt correctly suspects that Nilfgaard knows about her elder blood as well. However, they don't yet know that Emperor Emhyr is Ciri's biological father. They also don't yet know that Vilgefortz is interested in Ciri. They don't know that King Vizimir wants to use her claim to the throne, and they don't know that the other northern monarchs and Tissaia want to stop that. Last but not least, they don't know that Istredd, Francesca, and Philippa Eilhart all know about her elder blood. In other words, they know that Ciri is in danger, but they don't realize how far that danger extends. The Witchers trained Ciri in the art of the sword, and Yennefer has begun to train Ciri to use her powers. Ciri wants to become a Witcher, but Ciri is full of pain, she is full of hatred, and she is full of fear. So Ciri still has a lot to learn. Ultimately, Ciri is a child of destiny. She is the sword of destiny. And what is destiny? Destiny is hope.
Elfkind cannot win, fueled by pain and anger alone. Hope is vital.
With the right guidance, you may have the ability to break the cycle of hatred once and for all.